I love it when I love it when I can get corrected, because I hate to say something wrong and then it doesn't go and get corrected. And then usually the guys who watch back the broadcast after the broadcast, so we'll run it back. We'll have a rerun here this evening after this one airs, and usually that's when everybody gives me a hard time about any missteps, any statements that happen to not be true. What's up, everybody? It's a Tuesday evening, and that means, well, it doesn't always mean, but it just so happens to mean here tonight that it is the kickoff, the launch of season number 32 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. And again, it is in that 1987 Nissan Skyline GTS R, the R31, and we are heading out to Laguna Seca, followed by Dubai Mountain Circuit in reverse, the fictional track. So we got a little bit of mix of the real and the fictional, and even the Laguna Seca, man, can't wait for the next motorsport title to come out, because Laguna Seca is a little dated now after a whole change, a transition in sponsorship. So the track layout remains the same. You've got the Andretti hairpin, the Ray Hall straight, you've got the corkscrew, all of that remains intact. But of course, it just looks a little bit different when you've got all that WeatherTech sponsorship adorned on the fence, catch fences, and elsewhere. So good stuff. And yes, I'm very, very excited. Last time we were on here on Virtual Autosports, for those of you who may recall, is for the 24 hours of Daytona for Tora. And yes, managed to go all 24. And actually, Tora corrected me. Technically, I went 25 hours because we were on before the race began and then slightly thereafter. And so 24-hour broadcast a couple of weeks ago. Whoops, sorry, as I go ahead and smack my mic. A couple of weeks ago, and all of those captures are available in the past broadcast section of twitch.tv/Virtual Autosports. So if you're curious about what that looked like, go take a look at that. The Disconnect Kings, I think is their name. They are the ones who became the overall champion of the 24 Hours of Daytona. And I'm trying to recall who it was for the GT class, and it doesn't immediately come to mind. 24-hour champion, 24 Hours was a great broadcast. Hey, what you guys don't actually know is I've just been going all this time. I haven't actually stopped. The broadcast stopped, but I just kept talking. No, it was a lot of fun, and then, of course, I expressed my thanks to the Tora team and all the racers for participating. It was a fantastic event. Was hoping for maybe some late race dramatic theatrics to happen with one of the teams looking to maybe spoil it and come away with the win in that last stint. Just didn't happen that way. But nonetheless, a great event. And so Tora's got a lot more coming up. As a matter of fact, on Thursdays, if you're looking for more virtual autosport racing in the world of Forza Motorsport, you can catch on Thursdays Andy's broadcast of the American Iron series that Tora puts on, and those are Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Eastern. Catch those, and Andy behind the mic doing a fantastic bang-on job, as always, leaving room for chumps like me on Tuesdays to do my thing. And this is so for those of you who might be tuning in and maybe you've not been to Virtual Autosports, this really is my thing. My broadcast is Tuesdays 8 p.m. Eastern with the Forza Spec Racing Series. I was doing more broadcasts before, went away for a couple of months, and then Slow Motion Fire was nice enough to let me back in to handle his baby, if you will, with regards to this series on the broadcast front. So happy to do it, and every single season they put on a fantastic show. And I know I've only been broadcasting the Forza Spec Racing Series for maybe the last, I don't know, what is it, 6-7 seasons at this point. They've been going well before that, obviously, with 32 now, starting here tonight. The competition has just it just continues to get insane. So who knows what we're going to see here in season number 32. And I can tell you right now, we've got LMP Chicago, a strong front runner for a championship contender right there. And then Cratrium, who finished 4th overall there in season 31. DOR Corvid, Funtang, LSCM Chaos Fox, Fawnin, or Fawn 1N, however you want to pronounce that, Slow Motion Fire, Trigger Story, Fear the Fun, Grim, Virtual or Viral Mist, Udakan, Yorkie Man, Wolf, AMS Storm, Modern Weapon, Slipstream, and Presto Asbesto are in the lobby currently. That's 18 drivers of the 23 spots that they have available in the lobby. So, a lot of great names in there already. How many more might we get here tonight? Who knows? It would be fantastic if we got a full lobby. So if you're listening and you've raced in FM4 before, or you registered for this season and you're not here in the lobby yet, please hop in. Let's see ourselves to a full lobby one of these races. If it doesn't happen here tonight, then let's make it happen in week number 2. And you might be thinking, well, Dustin, if week number 1 was in a full lobby, then why try to make it happen in week number 2? Well, for any of you who are thinking, hey, this might be of interest to me, this might be a league that I want to participate, but let me scope it out first, let me see how everything goes. Well, okay, fine. If you want to play it that way, watch the broadcast here tonight, and then get registered over at reddit.com/r/FM4, the link coming by way of Nightbot there in the chat. Follow that link over to the Reddit forum, get yourself signed up, and then show up in week number 2, and guess what? With the drop week rule in effect, starting in week number 2 is A-okay. You'll still be in the running for the championship. But then I would even say, if you don't expect to be in the running for the championship, or you think that that might be something that's just not obtainable here this present season, then still hop in, get some familiarity with the guys and gals out on the track, and who knows what vehicle everybody will be in season number 31. And that really is the name of the game of the Forza Spec Racing Series. Yes, the name is very purposeful in that everybody is driving the same vehicle with the same Forza Spec, or excuse me, the same Forza Motorsport upgrades applied to the car. The tunes you can adjust to suit your liking and the track type, your driving style. But the upgrades and the car itself, everything is pretty much carbon copy from driver to driver. How many are in the lobby, asks Mesosphere? We did have 18. Now it looks like we've dropped down to 17. I believe Yorkie Man saw his way out the door and perhaps has to make a few little finite adjustments behind the scenes, and we'll jump back into the lobby here shortly. And we'll be doing qualifying here at the top of the hour in the next 6.5 minutes. That'll be followed by, again, the 19-lap race out at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, or the track formerly known as Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Of course, it still looks that way and plays that way here in the game. But then also we have the fictional circuit of Dubai Mountain Reverse, 17 laps around that track. So plenty of racing here this evening. We'll be going for about an hour and 45, hour and 50, if you're just curious about how long this broadcast will last. In between races and qualifying, and at the end of the broadcast, after both the races have concluded, we'll talk to some of our drivers as well. That's one of the great fun things that we do here on Virtual Autosports is bring folks into the driver spotlight and give them a chance to talk about their race, whether or not they were satisfied with how they finished. Talk about maybe some of the action happening on the track, what the car setup feels like, all the traditional stuff. All that traditional stuff. Let's see here. You're looking at the schedule right now. I did have the standings up there in just a second ago or a minute ago. Let's go ahead and throw those back up because I do want to review those coming out of season number 31. Yes, these are the final standings from season number 31 with AMS Udakan there at the top at 389, followed by DOR Corvid, or Crimson as we know him here in our pit lane. AMS Storm there in third position, followed by Cratrium, Futang, Mesosphere, who was only able to get in a few races, still managed 248 points, 6th place. That's impressive with Audrax back behind him at 228, 216 by Chaos Fox. Then you see 9th through 16th there with Slipstream, Soul Motion Fire, Fear the Fun, Chicago, Joe Beardy, T-Phrase, Sholesi, nope, Skolsey, See what happens. A couple of weeks gone, and I forget it. Skolsey, Weiss Lancelot, Celtic Warrior, or Celtic Warrior, Born as Ghost, Barf Monkey, love that name, Modern Weapon, DOR Nomad, Presto Esbesto, Randy's Gut, and Lucas. There round out the top 24. Can you make the top 24? If you're going to race here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, I would say at the very least, make that your goal. Even if you can't find yourself in the top, I don't know, 10, then still shoot for the top 24. Shoot for the top 24. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lobby for you so that you could see, again, what I'm seeing with the drivers hopping in. And wouldn't you know it, we are just 2 drivers away from a full lobby. 2 drivers. We got 4 minutes. We can make it happen. Top 23, actually, says Chicago. Top 23? Really? What? What? What are you talking about? There's 24 on there. There's 24 on there. Unless, of course, LMP Chicago's already staking his claim as the number 1 spot. That might be what LMP Chicago is alluding to. Might be. What's up there, PJ Dude? PJ Dude is exclamation mark lurk. Hey, I love it. But any of you that are watching, and maybe this is the first time that you're here, checking out the broadcast, even if you are more of the lurking type, please hit me up with a hello there in the pit lane, or the Twitch chat as it's otherwise known in this streaming universe, and happy to chat with you. Let me go through. I know I did this during the Daytona 24-hour broadcast, but some of them I was probably in a very lethargic state, and it didn't sound so great. So let me go ahead and run off a couple of names here. Some thanks, some kudos, some folks who have gone above and beyond to help support the broadcast with either a follow or a subscription. Catalyst Customs, Suma Verdes, Jason AR223, Alan Raft PC, AMS Storm coming in with the 4-month subscription, Indominus Bram, or Bram, probably Yuko, Turtle Fetus, weird, Ash Fails at Games, hey, you and me both, brother, DJ Murdoch, White Light with the subscription, Midland Zeta, LSEM The Butler with the subscription, Matt 6661 had a host there during the 24 hours. Let's see, who else did some subscribing / follow action back there? There was a lot of them. There was a lot of them. So thank you all so much for those of you during that spectacle. I went back. I didn't watch the entire broadcast, just so you know. I'm not that vain. But I did listen to the very end just to kind of see how spaced out I might have seemed during the broadcast. And while it wasn't as bad as I had thought, it did get a little bit goofy there toward the end. Take it a little goofy there toward the end. Carry out saying, just made it. We're 1 driver away. We're 1 driver shy of a full lobby. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? And PJ Dude actually saying, I won't make it to qualifying, but I will try to make it to race 2. Okay. So PJ Dude either will be the 23rd driver on the grid, or he won't. Carry out saying just made it. So carry out will be out there. LMP Chicago, maybe LMP Chicago is saying top 23 because there's only 23 drivers available for each race. But I would say the caveat to that is that even though you're not racing here tonight, you can race again in week number 2, 3, 4, 5, and still be in the running for the championship. Every season, inevitably, we'll have the 24 drivers who land in the top 24, and then there is an assortment of other drivers who are back behind, not on the leaderboard. They did participate in the season. They just didn't make it to the leaderboard. So ha! Chaos Fox says, I'm pretty hyped for this, and Chaos Fox has every reason to be hyped for it. Chaos Fox did 8th place with 216 points back there in season number 31, joining, if I'm not mistaken, in season 30. And so an opportunity to have another go at it because the points have been wiped. It's a fresh start for everybody. And Slow Motion Fire, if you can hear me, I don't think you've loaded the track yet. I don't have the spectate option. I'm Dustin Moore. I'm very, very happy to be broadcasting to you all live from South Central Texas, where today it was like, I think 81 or 82 degrees and a little bit of humidity. And I kid you not, I should have taken a photo of it, but because my good conscience of being a safe driver and not taking photos with my cell phone while I'm driving, I did not do it. But I kid you not, driving home from work, 81, 82 degrees out, 5 o'clock, and on the text dot sign, the lights, the signs that they could put text on here in Texas, above the roadways, above the interstates, said, and I kid you not, and again, 81 degrees Fahrenheit, the sign said, please exercise caution or use caution. Oh, and I don't have the spectate option. I need the spectate option. Use caution because they're prepping the bridges for winter weather, for icing, to prevent icing. 81 degrees Fahrenheit today. And we're putting stuff on the bridges to prevent icing tonight. And it will get cold. So they're doing it for a reason, obviously. They've got smart people that are helping them out. But it's just funny. It's funny to see that. All right. Let's see. We're having some slight difficulties here. So we're going to try this again. Now I have the spectate option. That's okay. No worries. We got this. And it looks like qualifying is now underway. Let's go ahead and give you all some audio here. The 1987 Nissan GTR GTS-R. Oh, and it looks like maybe they're going to go ahead and restart the qualifying. Stand by. Okay, they're gonna go ahead and restart. Very well. Sounds good to me, and bear with us, folks. Every once in a while, these little things happen. Little fake outs, if you will. And actually, let's not go ahead and show that. Let's give you a look at that schedule again as everybody readies up, and now I have the spectate option. It's on the broadcast, Slow Motion Fire. I have proof. There was no spectate option. I have proof. Or maybe it did. I don't know. I don't know what the reason was. It kicked me out when it all loaded up, but we should be okay now. Hopefully. Let me turn that down. That's a little loud there on my end. Bring the Forza Motorsport. So there was another update, another Windows 10 update, and that threw my audio settings for a loop. So if you guys, if things seem loud or whatever, just let me know. And I'll try to fix it as quickly as possible. You guys go ahead, do what you're doing here. I just realized I have one little thing to fix on the overlay. Just one quick thing for me to fix on the overlay, and it won't take any time at all. Well, except for the time that it's taking right now. Little Photoshop action. Little ad-libbed Photoshop action happening in the background. Waiting on Yorkie to rejoin. Okay, good deal. Yeah, I mean, to have just one driver shy of a full lobby is awesome. And speaking of awesome, we've got PJ Dude with the Tier 1 subscription. PJ Dude, thank you so much. You really did not have to do that. For the little amount of broadcasting I do, your support goes above and beyond what is necessary for this channel. a kind follow is really all that's needed, but I entrust you now with the responsibility of using the emotes at your very best and as many times as you possibly can. And here we go. Looks like we are about to head back out to qualifying. 3 laps. Pardon me. Hold on. Holy smokes. I don't know what that was. My voice held on all 24 hours. I broadcast or I talk for 20 minutes and it disappears. Wouldn't you know? All right, here we go, folks. 3 laps of qualifying. It's a bit of a cloudy day here. Monterey, California, out in the desert. As we watch DJ Hocus come down toward the Andretti hairpin here in the, again, the 87 Skyline GTSR, the R31 B600 class, 276 horsepower, 289 foot-pounds of torque, and the car weighs 2,685 monstrous pounds. Showing some love for the support you give Forza Motorsport 4 with your dope broadcasting, says PJ Dude. Well, thank you so much, and I do look forward to bringing this action to you all for as long as I possibly can. The step away that I had from season 27, 8, or whatever it was, I hope not to do that again. I really want to make this kind of a mainstay for me, is that very predictably Tuesdays during the FM4 season, I'll be here. All right, heading up the Rahal Straight now up toward the corkscrew, and Matt 661 with the follow, or excuse me, with the follow with the host. And if you guys are not yet following Mr. Matt, then you are doing yourselves an injustice. Matt's a funny dude and a very, very quick driver. So don't let the humor suggest by any means that Matt doesn't know how to drive one of these cars around a track. The dude's quick. And check him out on Tuesdays. Of course, you missed it here today if you weren't watching, but on Tuesdays with Dino Dad Shadow in the GT Tuesdays, I think is what you guys call it, right? You can fix me on that one. Correct me where I have misspoken. Touring Car Tuesdays. Actually, I think that's what it is. SVR Fallen says, woo, just got home. What did I miss? Just started qualifying, my man. You are here in time. Touring Car Tuesdays, that's the one. We are now riding on board here with Modern Weapon, and let me go ahead and throw some stats there in the left-hand corner underneath our map. You'll see AMS Storm currently with the top time at a 1:38.802. That was on the standing start. So as these drivers go ahead and make their second pass, this will be a flying lap. Then they'll have one more go at it. You try to set the best lap time of those 3 laps, and the one lap that you have that is your quickest, that's going to decide where you are on the grid for the start of the race. And if everything holds true to what Season 31 had as far as the setup or the race start goes, the pole sitter will dictate the race when the race begins, and Modern Weapon is just all over the place coming through and out of the corkscrew. Let's go up to our current pace setter, which is AMS Storm. He's got LMP Chicago, who's got the second quickest time out there, and you'll notice we've got the wide body kit here on the R31. Race brakes, race springs and dampers, same can be said for the front and rear sway bars, race chassis reinforcement and roll cage, and a race weight reduction. Sports transmission, a race differential, sport tire compounds are wrapped around the multi-piece 1552 forged 3-piece Tarmac 348s. Those are 16-inch rims with 275 40s in the rear, or excuse me, in the front, and 315 35s in the rear. Sport front bumper, and then that wide body kit that I mentioned, and they have swapped out the motor for that 2.6 inline 6-cylinder TT motor. So there you go. Yeah, Matt's a funny dude. He's a fast dude. And he's a crazy dude because it is late across the pond. And there he is, giving us a little bit of love here on Virtual Autosports. MS Urakan, our season number 31 champion, now finds himself currently in position for the pole, as we are now on the third and final lap of qualifying for race number 1 of season 32. There are 9 races in total for the next, well, to include this week. For the first 4 weeks, it is 2 races per evening, and then on that 5th and final week, it is a mini endurance race, and we'll go back to the schedule a little bit later on to point out what that race is going to be. But yeah, that 5th and final race, double the points. That race, that singular race, gets double the points because they don't split them. They don't have the 2 races, and then that's it too. That's the end of the season. The week that you had the lowest amount of points, they'll drop that from your score to give you your championship total. And the driver with the most championship points, wouldn't you believe it, comes away as the champion. And AMS Urakan with a 136.229 could very well be the pole sitter, barring any changes toward the remaining cars that are coming across the track, to include Fear the Fun. And the paint jobs on the cars, looking very nice, looking good from the ones that we've seen so far. We'll try to give as many drivers as much love, camera time as we possibly can. So for those of you who are maybe looking to join the series and give yourself an opportunity to be on camera, just know that we try to give everybody a shot to be on the broadcast, but we can't certainly make any promises. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and open it up to the driver's spotlight section, and sure enough, we've got some drivers in there. So let me do that shortly after I go ahead and open up the times, the live timing, or I guess the post qualifying timing here, with Wolf at a 139.1, 139.6 for DJ Hocus, DOR Corvette at a 137.244. Slipstream at a 138. Urakan with that 136.229. Currently, that's the top time. We'll continue downward. We see a 136.561 by Chicago. Audrex at a 137.4. Viral Mist at a 140, and you can notice that exclamation mark inside the triangle. That annotates a dirty lap. So regardless of how quick Viral Mist time could have been, it wasn't a quick time, but if it were quicker, still would be at the back of the pack, because that's what happens when you dirty your lap. Your fastest dirty lap will always be slower than the slowest clean lap. Crate Trim with a 137.2. Slow Motion Fire with a 139.2. AMS Storm, one of the many AMS folks, guys and gals that we've seen participating here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, with a 137.3. Funtang with a 138.3. Fawn with a 142.1, Modern Weapon with a 144, and a dirty lap, and we saw part of that back there on the standing start lap that had Modern Weapon all over the corkscrew. Fear the Fawn with a 139.8, Weiss Lancelot with a dirty 139, and so there's a perfect example of a lap that, despite it being quicker than some of the cleaner laps, Weiss Lancelot will be back toward the end of the grid. LSM Chaos Fox with a 141. That is unusual. Yorkie Man with a 139.0. Presto Esbesto with a 139.5. Dirty. Trigger Story with a 142.8. Mesa with a 137.9. And Grim with a 147.734. So there's your times, and we pointed out LMP Chicago with the second quickest time out there in qualifying. And so with that being said, we'll go ahead and bring LMP Chicago into the driver's spotlight. Pretty satisfied with your time?
Yeah, kind of. I could have gone a little bit faster, but I don't think it would have mattered.
Where was the extra time? Where could you have claimed it? What part of the track?
First sector, and definitely the corkscrew.
And is that the result of maybe you're just getting familiar with the car, or was it something like the other vehicles, as best as they can be ghosted, it still kind of ruins your look into the Apex? What threw you off?
Probably the ghosted vehicles and the time box that or time setting that we have
Hmm.
with the dark, dusk, or morning.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit of a weird. I don't often come across this one here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Talking with LMP Chicago, who's going to be opposite of AMS Udacan there on row number 1. Give us your initial impressions of the car, the '87 Skyline GTSR.
I really don't like it. It's way too grippy for my driving style, and it's gonna be you're gonna have to be really consistent with it to keep the lap times up.
Okay, going to have to be consistent. A lot of grip in this car. I think even Weiss Lancelot in our chat earlier was just saying grip, 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 grip. It must exist in abundance here. LMP Chicago, you were in the running there, or at least you had a good showing in season number 31. What are your aspirations? Where do you want to see yourself? Top 10, top 5? Go for that top spot? Where are you going to be?
Probably be trying to chase down the AMS guys and going for that top spot because if you do drive behind or with the fastest guys, you will get faster yourself.
Hmm. Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes for you. LMP Chicago, best of luck here in race number 1 of season 32.
Yep, thanks.
All right, and let's go ahead. We've got quite a few drivers, so this may take a little bit, but we'll go through these interviews as fast as we possibly can. We've got DOR Corvid, who's now joined us. And Corvid, we talked just now with LMP Chicago about the grip, or at least he mentioned the grip. Do you get the same feeling from the car, and what is that going to do to the dynamic of the race or through this entire season?
Not gonna lie, I'm not sure what Chicago said. It's a very and that is a very loud phone. It's a grippy car. It tends towards understeer until it just randomly decides it wants to oversteer. So it's interesting to get used to.
Okay, and as we head out to Raceway Laguna Seca, and then we'll follow that up with the Dubai Mountain Circuit. Is this a car that is going to have to be kind of pampered and adjusted quite a bit from race to race, or are you feeling pretty good about the tune that you have here for the opening of the season?
So I think that the tune that I've developed is pretty good all around. I tested on most of the tracks in test and tune last week, and it was competitive just about everywhere. Unfortunately, I'm doctoring a hand injury right now, so my pace today may not be entirely indicative of how fast this car can be.
Okay, a bit of a handicap here that Corvid's pushing through in season number 32. If you don't mind humoring our audience, what went wrong?
With my hand?
Yeah.
I was breaking up a dogfight.
Okay, a little heroics happening here with Corvid. Fair enough. So we'll take the attention off your hand at least a little bit here, and we'll talk about the season ahead. What's the track that you're looking forward to most here in season 32?
I like Rovals, so I'm the one that picked Indianapolis, so I'm looking ahead to that.
Indianapolis, all right. Good deal. Well, Corvid, good chatting with you, and maybe we'll talk to you a little bit later on here this evening.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and we've got LSCM Chaos Fox. We're going to bring LSCM Chaos Fox into the mix, and Chaos Fox, you were telling us there in the pit lane you're really looking forward to this one. What's the reason here? Why so excited?
Honestly, I love this car. I love the build for it. It is the complete opposite of the Sierra, where the Sierra was this squirrely monster that you had to manhandle. This car is like, I'm still finding grip for it, even with my tune on it, but it's so much fun to drive.
Awesome. Well, this is very consistent, so nobody said anything that makes us think, well, wait a minute, hold on. Everybody was saying grip, and now somebody's saying it's loose. But yeah, coming off of a car like the RS 500 that we had last season, now into this seems to have changed the game dramatically. Did you know that about the R31, or was this something that you learned here for this particular series?
The way they built it, I didn't think it was capable of this. I have a bunch that are in A-class, but nothing like this. I didn't realize the car could be this grippy without aero. It's great.
Okay. Well, we'll see how great it is. Chaos Fox, we had everybody's time up there, but whereabouts do you fall in terms of row?
My fast lap, I kind of dirtied it at right at the end, but I should have been in definitely top 10. I'm 15th right now,
Okay.
but I think I'm going to be working my way up.
Okay, so and real quick here, then does that maybe work to your advantage a little bit? Maybe it's not the quickest time that you had, but you get a chance to kind of scope things out from the back of the pack?
Definitely. The test races we were doing in the pack, I noticed I'm definitely faster race conditions rather than just qualifying, which is always common with me. It's going to be fun working my way up the pack. I definitely know I'm going to be working my way up into the top 10.
All right. Well, we'll be looking for you. LSCM Chaos, folks. Good luck to you here at Laguna Seca.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And then we've got one more that we're bringing in here into the driver's spotlight before we get things underway out at Raceway Laguna Seca. We've got Grim. And, Grim, you've got the amateur board posted to the side of your car as you make your way here into the Forza Spec Racing Series. But let me take a guess that you are not necessarily new to the Forza franchise.
No, I've been playing. I played a little bit of 4. I got really into 6.
Yeah. Okay. Any nuance here in Forza Motorsport 7 that obviously Forza Motorsport 4, that's one that a lot of people harken back to saying, hey, that was a great motorsport title. But is there anything about Forza Motorsport 7 that is a little bit different? And then, of course, as we talk about organized league racing that you had to do to prepare for things here in Season 32.
I don't know, the graphics, I guess. Graphics are better.
Well, let me ask you then: does the maybe graphical fidelity and how much better or easier it is to see things with resolution, does that maybe help drivers out a little bit? I don't know. Just kind of throwing it out there.
I think it does. For the longest time, actually up until about a week ago, I was racing without braking line. And it's nicer with the higher fidelity to actually see like spots and oil marks on the track that you can kind of gauge off of. But I've started running the braking line, and that's way easier. So,
okay, very good. And so, Grim, this being your first entry here into the Forza Spec Racing Series, what are your goals? What are your ambitions? Where do you want to see yourself? Maybe at the end of tonight, and then at the end of the season.
End of tonight, I just want to finish. End of the season, I want to be able to pull a time that's at least close to some of the other people. Qualifying wasn't great. Even all the time I've spent practicing, I can't seem to break the mid-40s, lower section, high mid-40s.
Yeah.
I just want to get better, pretty much. That's all I'm hoping for.
And that's a great point to be made here for anybody who's watching and is thinking about joining the league. That don't let your skill level be discouraging to you and keep you from participating out here, because you'll find yourself either toward the end of the pack or at mid-pack, and you'll find somebody to compete with and have a good time. Is there anybody that immediately jumps out to you here based on your practice or maybe just bouncing off qualifying times who you think you're going to be most competitive with?
Chaos Fox and I seem to be hitting pretty close.
Okay.
Maybe Fawn and I might be pretty close.
All right.
But they were still going faster than I was, so we'll see.
Okay. All right. So now that everybody's sitting there waiting for the race to begin, Grim, best of luck to you. We'll go ahead and get you back out there and readied up here on the grid as we now have a full lobby. Yes, sir, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, a full lobby for week number 1, race number 1 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. It's the 1987 Nissan Skyline GTSR, that R31, 276 horsepower, 289 foot-pounds of torque, 2,685 pounds curb weight, 23 cars going around the beautiful Raceway Laguna Seca here at Monterey, California. Let's see, we've got Matt 6661 there in the lobby saying best of luck tonight, Mesa. If we can get an extra, though, I dropped to let them Mesa, hey man, I would say if you're in there, stay in there. I don't know, that's just my opinion. That way who we have out there is who we get, and we don't need to making any concessions for anybody. That's my opinion. If you're in there, you're in there. You're set up. You're good to go. Let's go ahead and get our vehicle or our camera spotlighted on LMP Chicago, who will be lined up opposite of AMS Udakan, who is on the pole position. Now, again, the way things work here in the Forza Spec Racing Series is that pole sitter will dictate when the race begins. So they'll come out here. There will be that traditional countdown that you get in Forza Motorsport, and everybody will stay on the grid. They won't move. And then when the leader initiates their launch, everybody else is able to proceed. And that allows us, as the viewers, to actually see the beginning of the race, because there is that weird nuance with Forza Motorsport 7. And oh, there goes somebody in the back. Fortunately, whoever it was, they had the wherewithal to pull off over to the side, the right-hand side there of the straightaway leading up to the start-finish line. All right, ladies and gentlemen, kick the tires and light the fires. It's going to be LMP Chicago who jumps out there in front of AMS Udakan. Udakan got the race started, but Chicago said, I'm going to go ahead and take the top spot, and that's how it'll be. Going into head-ready hairpin there as Chicago, and actually AMS Udakan has fallen back with Kraytrim in second position, now looking to crawl up a couple, or at least one spot there, reclaim that second position as they go in through now what is turn number 3 underneath the Continental Tire Bridge. Then it's this right-hander right here. You got to carry the right amount of speed to have that momentum underneath or toward the Mother's Bridge, but not go out too far wide that you find yourself out into the kitty litter. Then you hit the left-hander as you start to head uphill a bit. And then the real tricky left-hander is coming up. You got a little bit of a hump there that can throw your car off kilter a little bit. However, with the amount of grip that these cars have, that our drivers are telling us that they have, doesn't seem to be an issue, at least as our first 2 or 3 go through. Let's go ahead and jump a little bit further back. Let's go to Slipstream, who's there in 7th position as they go down the Rahal straight up to the corkscrew. This is where things are going to get real interesting. They mash on the brakes and actually using one of the other cars is Slipstream. That's AMS Storm he got up onto the back bumper of. Some spark spray in there as they come now out of the corkscrew into the swooping left-hander, and we've got 2 cars. It's going to be DOR Corvid, and I believe Slipstream went off as well. You see there the dust flying as the rest of the pack makes their way through, and those two seem to be the only one who are not suspect but victims. And actually we have another car getting sideways there through the final right-hander before you head up to the left-hander and then back across the start-finish line. We're up to AMS Storm now, who's currently running in 4th position. First is LMP Chicago, then it's AMS Udakan. Mesosphere in 3rd, AMS Storm in 4th, Audrex is 5th, Fear the Fun in 6th position, Footang in 7th, Chaos Fox, Yorkie Man, IPR Wolf are 7th through 10th, or make that 8th through 10th. Then it's Slow Motion Fire, Presto's Besto, Corvin, Trigger Story, Viral Mist, Modern Weapon, Slipstream, Kraytrim, Fawn, Born as Ghost, Weiss Lancelot, DJ Hocus, and Grim, all the way back to 23. The 23 who started are still out on the track. We're still hanging out here with AMS Storm, who's on the back there of Mesosphere. And we'll go check out our leader and second place of Udakan here shortly. LMP Chicago trying to make a statement. He said, I'm going to have to fend off the AMS guys, and he's already doing that here on lap number 2 as they head toward the corkscrew. 19 laps. That 20th lap will be a cool-down one, so don't pay any mind to that. We'll be looking for how things look as they go across the checkered. Oh, and there goes Mesosphere, perhaps a little bit too far into the corkscrew. I'm not entirely sure what the driver instructions were. Oh, and there goes, that's going to be Fear the Fun getting a little bit sideways. It seemed that he had some help there from Audrex. And now as they head into that final left-hander once again, Storm remaining there in 4th position, back behind Meza. Then it's Fear the Fun, Audrex. Let's go to Audrex in 6th position. Matt 6661 saying, my goodness, this lobby is stacked. Back down the hill toward the hairpin. Footang dressing his car. Looks like a Toyota 86 there. It does not look like the R31. Perhaps that's what he was going for. Trudeau And here comes Fear the Fun. We saw him get sideways a little bit ago as we ride on board here with Audrex. Audrex, I think, maybe giving him a little bit of breathing room, allowing him to hold on to fifth for right now. Let's go up to AMS Udakan as he tries to track down LMP Chicago through that left-hander up the Ray Hall straight. Let's ride on board with Udakan. Oh, and Carryout telling us there in the pit lane here on Twitch that he DC'd, which is really unfortunate. We had 23 drivers to start, and yes, DJ Hocus is out of the race. Let's go back to AMS Storm with Mesa. AMS Storm to the inside. Through turn number 2. This is actually turn 3, I believe. I think the Andretti hairpin counts as 2 turns. I could be wrong. This right-hander might be 3. I lost my track map. I had it, and then I lost it. Here comes Mesosphere now after having lost that position, AMS Storm, as they go in through the right-hander. Let's see what happens here. It's a beautiful track. I love the desert setting. It's a little bit less... I don't know. Maybe it's actually, it looks pretty nice, though, with the pseudo sunset feel to it. Used to the very sunny skies out here at Laguna Seca. Let's go back up to Udakan as he continues to reel in LMP Chicago. This is going to be a battle not only to watch here in this race, but all of tonight with Dubai Mountain Circuit in reverse coming up next. And then all of the racing that we have here in Season 32. Things are just getting started here tonight. And again, I'm Dustin Moore with the call. Happy to have you here on Virtual Autosports. If you're enjoying the content, please click that follow button. Lets me know that I'm doing something right. Mako Dago did it. Thank you very much, Mako. Appreciate that. Here comes Udakan now for the 5th time in this race. Udakan was on the pole position, and as soon as there was the slightest indication that Udakan was accelerating, LMP Chicago was on it. You would have thought, going into turn number 1, that Chicago was the pole sitter for this race. What's up there, THR Flip Mode? And we were talking a little bit earlier about Andy, THR Flip Mode, doing the Torah. And by doing, I mean commentating. That would be the more appropriate term. Commentating the American Iron Series on Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure y'all catch that here on Twitch. And let's see here, Udakan, will he be making a move at any one of these corners? He's going to go to the outside as he get ready for the left-hander, that swooping left-hander. Now he's back onto the back bumper there of Chicago, and now here we go into the right-hander. What's he going to do? Is he going to press the issue? He most certainly does. A little bit of nudge to the back of Chicago's bumper, and now here up to the left-hander. They were side by side at the entry. Now it's going to be a little bit of a switchback move there by Udakan. And down the stretch they come. Chicago, Udakan, LMP versus AMS. Lap number 6. The over-under, yeah, the switcheroo. The old switcheroo trick. It's such a glorious thing that when you see drivers pull it off too, it's like the equivalent of like a juke in basketball where your defender thinks you're going one way and they defend you that way, and then you just quickly pivot and head the opposite direction. It's a beautiful thing when it's executed, and even though even though Udokan wasn't able to pull it off that last time by, that won't be the last time that he sees himself in the rear view mirror there of Chicago, who's going to have to play a hefty role of defense himself here in this one, with plenty of racing to go. 14 laps in this one. AMS Storm is in third position. Meza still holding off. Well, actually, Meza has dropped back to fourth position behind AMS Storm. Then it's Audrex in fifth. Fear the Fun in sixth position. Funtang, Corvid, Chaos Fox, and IPR Wolf make out your top 10. Then it's Cratrium, Presto's Besto, Slow Motion Fires, Slipstream, Yorkie Man, Born as Ghost, Modern Weapon, Trigger Story, Weiss Lancelot, Viral Mist, Fawn, Grim are all the way through from 11th on back to 22nd, and unfortunately it was DJ Hocus that we lost early on in this race. LSEM Chaos Fox, who told us there in the driver's spotlight before this one got kicked off, wants to see himself in the top 10, currently running in 9th. Let's go back there to LSEM Chaos Fox for now. And Chaos Fox getting very close to those braking markers, the distance markers, and now that's going to leave room for Cratrium to the look to the inside there through the Andretti hairpin. Nothing doing for him that time by. Look at that paint job there on Chaos Fox's car, though. I like it. Kind of period-appropriate colors. And oh, there goes Cratrium around as Chaos Fox is well off the pace coming out of the right-hander. And so he'll drop back to 11th position. Tucked behind Wolf. And Presto is Besto in 12th. Let's go back up to... Let's go to Fear the Fun, who's riding in 6th, back behind Audrex. Fear the Fun was in front of Audrex a few laps ago. Those two have switched, and now he's got Corvid back behind him, so he's got his work cut out for him. Matt saying just not enough room to make the move stick, but it's got to be a confidence boost to pull out and move like that and make it stick. Yeah, if you do that with such elegance and grace, and you don't punt your opponent, then yeah, it's what a move that is. I mean, it's the ankle breaker of motorsport. Fear the Fun now down the hill, which actually that little kink there as you're coming down the hill counts for turn number 1. Andretti is 2, possibly 2 and 3. Then the right-hander. I really love this track. 2.24 miles here out at Monterey, California, with the sun setting. Audrex up there, starting to create some separation between he and Fear the Fun. Let's go up to Udokan now, who is still trying to make a move here on Chicago, or at least keeping tabs of Chicago, not letting them get too far away, and have a shot at making a move here in the coming laps. Flip Mode saying, I'm good, super busy. How is the stream going? I'm at work when you stream. Oh, so Flip Mode, you're at work, and a lot of the Forza streamers, when they're streaming, I'm at work, and so I catch them, to include Dino Dad Shadow and Matt and Mesa. But yeah, stream's going great. As a matter of fact, I haven't mentioned it yet because I don't want to jinx it, but I'll go ahead and set myself up for failure now. We got the ISP to come out and take a look at things, and so far not a single drop frame, and from what I could tell, everything looks solid. So I only wish I had that sort of consistency during the 24 hours of Daytona a couple of weeks ago, but I'll take all the frames I can get at this point. Yeah, Matt's saying earlier that this lobby is stacked. No question about it. We are going to have phenomenal racing from front to back. And that, again, is every reason why you should be a part of the Forza Spec Racing Series on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Even if you're not the quickest driver in the crown box, because that's how the analogy goes, still come out here in color. Click on that link, reddit.com/r/FN4, and be a part of the action. The people go and chill is beyond you, especially with your body mouth. Matt 6661, I think that's exactly why people show up, is because I can appreciate the enjoyment that comes from watching an unfiltered broadcast. I really can. I have my own reasons as to why I don't, but I have every ounce of gratitude and appreciation and love for the broadcast for those streamers who are just like, you know what, throwing caution to the wind. If a few bombs drop during the proceedings of this broadcast, then so be it. And there goes Corvid. Corvid's going to make a move to the inside of Fear the Fun as he climbs up through the field. Now it's going to be a drag race here up toward the start-finish line. Corvid's got the advantage now up to the top of the hill as they head toward Andretti Hairpin. Let's see what happens if Corbett comes off of it a little bit or if he goes in daring. He is. Fear the Fun looks to run him to the inside, smushes him in there. Corbin's not going to have any of that. Runs right up onto the passenger side door panel. And unfortunately, Corbett, he's going to have to fall back. He goes ahead and says, all right, you got me now, Fear the Fun, but not for long. Back up to our race leader, actually second position here with AMS Udakan. And we'll turn over to the Virtual Autosports Rewind. Let's take a look at that as Corvid trying to get around Fear the Fun. Oh, and there goes Udakan as they come down the corkscrew. Right there into Chicago, and Udakan doing the very sportsmanlike thing. Although you got to be careful, because as you can see now, AMS Storm is closing in. You'll have AMS brothers here going for first position, which Chicago's probably not liking that proposal. Saying thanks a lot, Udakan, for slowing us both up. Now I'm going to have both of you AMS, you aliens, you alien motorsport drivers on my tail here very soon. Especially if he has to continue to play defense. It's just the way that things work out when you have such competitive racing at the front, where you're not necessarily going to see those quickest lap times, because there is that defense, that element of defense, and the other driver trying to find a way around you. So you're not always taking the quickest line around the track. You're just trying to find a way by. Before you know it, you give way to a driver like AMS Storm, who's just in the clear right now, running by himself, and all of a sudden you make it a three-way battle. Did Corbett have an accident? Asked Martin. We did see Corbett on the initial lap, or maybe the second lap, perhaps get a little bit of sideways, I think, if I remember correctly. In the left-hander coming out of the corkscrew, or after you've come out of the corkscrew, the left-hander that is after that, that's where I think saw Corbett get a little bit sideways. He was helped out, if I remember correctly. But still, doing quite a pace and having a good run here in sixth position. And so our top 10 looks like this. And actually, hold on, we've got LMP Chicago to the inside here through this final left-hander. Here comes the old switchback again with Udakan to the inside. And it looks to be, for now, in the hands of Chicago, who's not going to give it up easily. Look at that. It is almost choreographed as they come out of Andretti. Udakan's going to take the high line, and there goes Chicago onto that right rear bumper, giving them a little bit of a nudge, and there you go. You see Grimm wisely getting out of the way for our lead pack of drivers here. That's exactly the kind of driver etiquette we like to see on the track. You don't have to necessarily pull all the way off the track, but as long as you're not on the driving line, that's pretty wise. Although Grimm was probably thinking, hey, I can be off the driving line here through the straightaway, and then I quickly become a part of the driving line at the apex of that right-hander there. So perhaps that was the reason for getting off the track altogether. And now AMS Udakan our champion from season number 31, is your race leader with about 8 laps to go here in this 19-lap race. Run through that field, and Udakan getting a little bit of sideways, a little squirrely for all the grip that the R31 has. That was uncharacteristically sloppy there coming downhill, but it is going to be Udakan, LMP Chicago, AMS Storm, Mesosphere, who's all by himself right now, Audrex and Corvid in 5th and 6th. Then it's Funtang, Fear the Fun, Kratrium, and Chaos Fox are 7th through 10th position. Then it's IPR Wolf, Slipstream, Yorkie Man, Born as Ghost, Slow Motion Fire, Modern Weapon, Presto as Besto, Weiss Lancelot, Trigger Story, Fawn, and Viral Mist, followed by Grim. For the 22 drivers of the 23, and again, we miss having DJ Hokus out there. It would have been awesome to have a full grid complete this race. So far, everything looking really good out here as far as connections. I'm not seeing a lot of lagging or anything, so hopefully the 22 that we have on the circuit right now are the 22 that we'll have at the end of the race. AMS Storm is closing that gap, by the way. Let's go ahead and ride on board here with Storm as he gets around Raceway Laguna Seca. Give you a nice shot of heading uphill to the Rahal Straight, and then we'll take a look at the descent down through the corkscrew. What do you guys think about Season 32? Do you have any predictions? Who's going to come away as the champion here when 5 weeks of racing are all said and done? Throw that in the chat. Or at the very least, a hello. That'd be appreciated too. And again, if you are enjoying the content, please click that follow button. If you have your notifications set up, every time thereafter we go live, you'll get that notification to say, hey, Virtual Autosports is broadcasting the Forza Spec Racing Series. Tune in now. Do it. Love it. The Sonic livery there on AMS Storm's car. Well done. Well done. Whether it's a teammate who helps them out with these or if it is the drivers themselves, you love seeing the creativity, the uniqueness of the liveries on each of these cars. It could be very easy for everybody to just show up for this organized series, slap together all the upgrade components, do the finite or minute adjustments or vast adjustments if it's needed to these cars to get them track ready, but then to take it a step to the next level or a step up and say, hey, let me make these cars look good, or at least make my car look good. We appreciate that from the spectating side of things. Slow Motion Fire is currently in 15th position. Here they come up to the corkscrew. Chicago closing in quick. He wants that top spot back. It was Udakan who qualified for the pole. Chicago very quickly there on lap 1 in the first 100 feet took that from Udakan, and it wasn't until about a lap or two ago that they exchanged position, and almost like an ominous storm cloud on the horizon is AMS Storm, who is trailing behind them by not more than maybe, I don't know, 3-4 seconds, if that. We got drivers scattered all about the track, and exactly every reason why you should participate here in FM4. You find yourself another driver, just like Grim was telling us there in the driver spotlight prior to the race. Find yourself somebody out there on the track that you think you compete closely with and make that be your benchmark. Make that be your guide to success. Even if that doesn't mean you're top 20 or top 10 or in the top 5 or 3 or even the champion, if you're setting yourself some milestones along the way, it'd be very helpful in improving your time and your ability out here on the track. We're hanging tight here with 1 and 2 of Udakan and Chicago. Great battle here in the remaining 4.5 laps of our 19-lap race. Of course, hang tight when all the action is said and done out here at Raceway Laguna Seca. We'll pull some of our drivers back into the driver's spotlight, have a word with them on their impressions of race number 1 of 9 here in season number 32. And then we'll get ready for qualifying out there at the Dubai Mountain Circuit in reverse. LMP Chicago looking to maybe set himself up. Perhaps it's a little bit too early at this point. Now, maybe you're just waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Saving up all that effort, all that energy, and maybe a surefire maneuver or something that you think, an advantage that maybe you believe you have going into a corner where perhaps your opponent has struggled. And so a little bit of calculation there is needed and just observing. And Chicago looking really good coming out of that left-hander. Perhaps that's one area where he could take advantage. He most certainly has here with about a half a car separation, car length worth of separation between the two as they head up underneath the Pepsi signage here on the Rahal Straight, back up to the corkscrew. Lexpertise with the follow. Love that name, Lexpertise. Thank you, sir or ma'am. Carry out saying there in the pit lane, I'll just finish the season with 24 points for all the DCs. I hope you're not too discouraged there, DJ Hocus, and that we'll see you back out there on the track. I can certainly understand your frustration. We've seen that with other drivers who just unfortunately don't have the best of luck with their connections, and it just spoils a season very, very quickly. But hopefully you'll stick with it, and we'll see you back out here on the track for race number 2. All right, it's AMS Storm there in 3rd position. Mesosphere all by himself coming out of the Andretti hairpin in 4th position. Let's go to Audrex and actually Corvid, who's there in 6th behind Audrex. This battle has been going on for some time. We'll get back up to our leader here in a short while. But let's see if there's any change in position here for P5. Lexpertise with the PogChamp, yeah. Great having you here. Hope you're having a good Tuesday, and if not, maybe we're helping to make that Tuesday a little bit better for you. Here comes Corvid now to the outside of Audrex, the AMD Risen car there by Audrex. He's going to go ahead and maybe push him out a little bit wide, but giving him just enough space, Corvid. And Corvid out through the left-hander. Oh, that's a very scary area to be that close. Both drivers, though, managing their cars exceptionally well. And now look at this. Corvid's going to try it here through the corkscrew. And he's got it down the left-hander. Oh, can he go ahead and jump out in front for the right-hander? I think he might. And Corvid, at least for now, up to P5. Well done. Very well done, sir. Let's go back to LMP Chicago in 2nd position. And while we take a look at them, let's go to that Virtual Autosports instant replay with Corvid going up to P5 around Audrex. Lexpertise saying, I'm here for Grim. Unfortunately, Grim not having the best showing here in the Forza Motorsport Spec Series debut. But that's okay. You could turn it around in race number 2, and then perhaps you'll be in a better position going into week number 2. Here comes LMP Chicago now up the hill. Next time by the flag stand will be their white flag lap number 19. Matt saying nicely done. Yeah, Corvid, great pass. If there were no other good ones out there for this race, I think that definitely qualifies as one of the best, or the best. But we'll see what happens here in the final lap with Chicago. Tracking AMS Unicon coming up to lap traffic here, and hopefully we'll see that lap traffic maybe pull off to the side a bit. Again, not having to get completely off the racing surface. You're still able to use the raceway. You don't have to pull off into the dirt and become a dust cloud. Who's that? Linus for the Peanuts, who's the traveling dust cloud. You don't have to go to those extremes, but looks like Udakan and Chicago making their way past safely. So here we go, final lap. Are there any last lap heroics here in store for Chicago, or do you just say, hey, I'm okay with the 47 points? It'll be 50 for first position, 47 if I'm not mistaken for second, and not press the issue, because it could very well come down to 1 or 2 points. That slight difference there in that final race in week number 5, so you don't want to spoil it and risk giving up points. You got AMS Storm, who's back there and just ready to strike at a moment's notice, so maybe Chicago's going to take the safe approach here. Here they come through the final right-hander, then up to the left-hander. Race number 1 in season number 32, getting ready to be in the books. And there you go, the checkers fly. AMS Udakan, who was on the pole coming out of qualifying, able to take back P1 from Chicago, and Chicago will come across in second. Back there in third position, it's going to be AMS Storm. Mesosphere now coming across the line. Let's go back to Corvid in fifth position. And Corvid going to pick up P5. Back behind him, that's going to be Audrex, Cratrium. Let's go to 11th position with Born as Ghosts. Well done, everybody. That was a great start to the season. I don't know if we've had as clean a race as that one for the launch of a season, at least not in the ones that we've broadcasted up to this point. Fear the Fun will finish in 8th position. Behind him is going to be Funtang. And pardon me as I write all these down, because they will take or at least Udakan will take the victory lap, and that will shuffle the order, as they won't necessarily close out the race where they officially stand in the standings or on the finishing positions there. So I gotta take note of those. Soul Motion Fire in 14th, Modern Weapon in 15th. Chaos Fox, unfortunately, he was running in 9th, I do believe, falling back to 16th position. Presto in 17th. Then it's Trigger Story, and Weiss, Lancelot, with then Fawn, Viral Mist, and Grim. And then DJ Hocus, who will pick up 3 points for at least starting the race, unfortunately getting disconnected in this one. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll throw up the schedule here, and take note of the fact that we don't have, 1, any race with precipitation, and 2, no race under the lights. They'll all be in the daytime under sunny skies with no precip, no wet raceway to contend with, despite the fact that these cars are ultra grippy. At least that's what the racers are telling us. And drivers, if you would like to have a chat after race number 1 there, go ahead and hop into that queue for interview section, and we'll get your thoughts on how things went for you here at Raceway Laguna Seca. Mesosphere saying, I lucked out avoiding a wreck up the hill. It did seem to get a little iffy going up Ray Hall Straight on that first and maybe even that second lap. We did see a few cars off into the dirt building sandcastles, but I think it was all a racing incident. Nothing suspect that we saw from our vantage point. Granted, we had limited visibility there toward the front. Matt saying you did tops, Mesa. Yeah, I know Mesa's very humble. Even when he's not feeling at his best, and perhaps he tells us that he doesn't feel confident in the car and the setup and all that, and then the dude comes out here and just tears up tarmac around the track and does a phenomenal job. So you got to take what he says with a grain of salt. And all right, let's go ahead and, well, speaking of that man, let's not just talk about him behind his back. Let's go ahead and pull Mesosphere here in the driver's spotlight. Mesa finishing in 4th position out there. You were kind of all on your lonesome after a while, but you said things weren't so easy early on in that race, avoiding a wreck.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it was, but I think it was Corvid and CT going up the hill. They got slightly into each other, then Forza Physics told them they were both going straight on, and I managed to find a gap almost exactly an R31's width on the inside of that kink going up the hill and avoided the barrel. So, yeah, quite happy about that. A quiet race, that's fine. I just wish my hands enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I got a little lucky as well, I think, with the start. There was some confusion about the procedure a little bit. Somebody had jumped towards the rear of the field, said, oh, but they never said whether they'd retaken the position or not.
Yeah.
And so a couple of the guys thought they were meant to wait, but the rule states that if they haven't gone by 20 seconds, you just go. And as soon as people started moving, I went and I managed to make up a position or so on the start as well. I think that's how I got past Storm. Although his pace was way faster than mine. Either way, I'm happy. 4th with 0 laps of practice, so joining the Team No Practice hashtag today. But
I like it. I love the hashtag Team No Practice. We've seen that throughout the Forza community quite a bit, and it's amazing. Folks who usually affix that hashtag onto a race that they do exceedingly well in. And so Mesosphere, again, finishing 4th here at Raceway Laguna Seca for season number 32 in the 87 Nissan Skyline. And pretty much the consensus has been that this car is on point. Like, it sticks. Are those your impressions? Is that your take as well?
I'm not sure. I'm driving somebody else's tune, and I've literally just done 19 laps with it, with a couple of extra for qualifying. It's the way he's got it set up, it's very stiff, so I'm not entirely certain I like it. It doesn't have any kind of move to it at all. It's very... if it loses grip, it loses grip harshly, we'll say. So when you try pushing it, it's a very on edge with that tune. I think a little bit more, a little bit less roll bar would probably help, just to give it a little bit of give. So when it loses grip, it loses it slowly. But there's plenty of grip there for a no-error car. That is surprisingly grippy. But yeah, the tune I've got is just, if you push it too hard, you die. It's as simple as that. You go off the track and you're in a wall somewhere.
Yeah, an opportunity for any of our subscribers there to throw the Shadow 288 fail out there as cars go darting off the track. Hopefully we don't see too much of that here throughout season 32, and maybe the grip will help. With that being said, I think that's an interesting point, and especially one to kind of elaborate on for any of our viewers who aren't necessarily familiar with how things work in the Forza Motorsport world as far as tuning goes, or anybody who's just not, maybe they play Forza Motorsport but they just aren't into the community side of things with tuning. You say you got somebody else's tune. How does that work out? Do you say, hey guys, I've got a race that's coming up and you've got somebody who's helping you guys out with these things, or what's the approach that maybe keeps you from doing the tuning yourself but has somebody helping you?
Right. Normally I tune myself. I've tuned this game now since Forza 4, and it's one of the aspects I enjoy a lot. For me this time, it's a case of I wasn't planning on racing, but my hands haven't been too bad today, so I thought I'd give it a try. I don't know if I'll do much of the rest of the season, but I've certainly, liked the car. I wanted to get a taste of the car as well, because I've heard people saying it was very good, so it's like, right, yeah, I'm gonna have to jump in and give it a try. It's why I don't have a livery, unfortunately, because the decision was literally made. And when I asked how many were in the lobby,
yeah, you answered the call to get a full lobby. That's for sure. You jumped up.
Hey, I love racing with these guys. You know, given half a chance, I will be here. Yeah, so using somebody else's tune, Fear offered a tune, CT has a tune, but I know my driving style is very similar to Corvid's.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using his tune today. Like I say, it's a little bit too stiff for me. So if I come back next week, I'll have my own with this car. But yeah, it's more of a. I've just literally downloaded it. I don't know the figures. I don't know what I think. I've literally just jumped in, and my first thought was it's a little bit stiff. But having said that, you know, it is a very grippy car, and there was a lot of grip there to be had. It's just that when you pushed it that little too far, suddenly you were sideways and trying very hard to catch it. But yeah, it's a nice car. It seems nicely balanced. And like I say, usually it doesn't have aero on there. Ooh, I won't like this. No, actually, that was really good. So yeah, okay, I will take that back. It seems some cars can do no aero, and this is one of them.
Doesn't matter what car you throw him in, what tune you give to him, Mesosphere always finding a way to find himself up toward the front of the pack for the finish, finishing fourth here in race number 1 of season 32. Mesosphere, best of luck out at Dubai for race number 2.
Thank you very much. I'll catch you later.
All right, we've got a lot of drivers here, so we're going to start burning through this list of folks in the driver spotlight, and we'll go ahead and bring in LMP Chicago, who finished in second position, back behind Udacan. Chicago, you had a great start there out at Raceway Laguna Seca, and it looked like for the large part of the race that you were going to have to play defense, and at some point it just became a little bit too much, and Udacan was able to find his way around.
Yeah, I made one simple mistake by extending a part of the track, and Huracan was really good through the corkscrew in the final sector, but I had the acceleration out of the corners onto the straights, which actually kind of surprised me.
And we did see it look like there was at one point in the corkscrew where you two got tangled up there, but it was kind of one of those gentleman agreements where, hey, go ahead and maintain position. So I don't know, was there any comms on the FM4 Discord side, or how do you guys coordinate that? Is it just kind of an understanding?
It's kind of an understanding because we know that the cars are easy to get hooked up with.
And so now here heading into race number 2 out at the Dubai Mountain Circuit, do you think maybe that this track is more favorable to your driving style, or are you fearing this track?
Oh, I picked the track, so I think I have more experience than most of the guys on the grid at it.
So we're looking for a Chicago pole start, yeah?
Well, probably. I'll try.
Try. Very good. Chicago, great finish there at Raceway Laguna Seca. We'll see you out there on the track first for race number 2.
Yep, no problem.
All right, so there's that one. Let's go ahead and drop in. We've got IPR Wolf who's joining the mix here, and let's see. I'm going to try to do some quick math here, Wolf. I'm probably going to fail miserably, but it looks like maybe 11th, 12th position there for your final for your finish out at Raceway Laguna Seca.
I believe it was 13th, actually.
I was close. Okay.
Yeah, close enough.
Wolf joining, unless I'm mistaken, this is your first appearance here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. How are things going so far?
It's going decently. Much better than. Well, first off, I did try to to race last season with the Sierras, but internet connection got better of me, and I just didn't want to bother with it for the time being. But this season, so far this season's going a lot better.
Okay, and because I know you guys are getting ready to head back out there for qualifying out the Dubai circuit, if you were to give me, let's just say one word to describe the 87 Nissan Skyline, the R31, what's that word that you have for this car?
Grippy.
Grippy. Well, there we go. That's way to be consistent. Way to be consistent with everybody else on that one. IPR Wolf. Yeah, everybody said grippy. IPR Wolf. So yeah, 13th there at Raceway Laguna Seca. What's your goal here for race number 2? What finishing position do you want to see yourself in here for the second race of the night?
I'm hoping. I mean, as long as I'm kind of within the same sort of area. Top 10 I would be really happy with, but if I get a little bit lower than that, I wouldn't be hurt by it.
Okay. And any shout outs? I see the IPR tag next to your name, so any shout outs to the IPR crew? Anybody that you got watching here today?
I have to check the stream, but Buck, if you're watching, shout out to you.
Very cool.
He's pretty good with racing as well. So.
Okay. Awesome. You have to go call in some of your fellow racers and say, hey, come join, and let's see who's going to be the best of the Forza Spec Racing Series between you guys.
Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. That's kind of already what's going on with a couple other friends, but yeah. Anyhow.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, IPR Wolf, great seeing you out there on the track. Best of luck in race number 2 out at the Dubai Mountain Reverse.
Thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're already enjoying it. You don't have to tell us that you hope that we're enjoying it. We are most certainly enjoying it. And again, thanks to everybody who's tuned in here on Virtual Auto Sports Live on Twitch TV. It's been a great one. Already a fantastic start to season number 32 in an R31. Yeah, you see my car there is the McLaren 12C. Definitely not racing that. I'm just spectating. But we're getting ready for qualifying here for race number 2. And I'm so let me just say that I am so proud of the fact that we have a full lobby here tonight, and hopefully DJ Hocus's connection will hold up if that is indeed the 23rd driver that we have on the grid for race number 2. And then just thrilled with the amount of drivers who have jumped into that driver's spotlight. That is beautiful. If you're a driver or if you're a racer who is looking to maybe get some notice, maybe get the attention of another team or something, and you want to be a part of the team, maybe you're a solo driver right now, a privateer, no better way to kind of get yourself noticed with not only your driving ability out there on the track, but then also hopping into the driver's spotlight and letting everybody know kind of what are your thoughts and how do you approach the race, what is your car, how do you set your car up, all that great stuff, but then just generally being able to respond to some questions on the fly, and that really is what it is. Nobody is aware of what questions I'll give them when they get in here, but we always have a great time with it, and it allows you all as the viewers to get a little bit of insight, not only with the racing itself, but then just with the drivers. What are they like, and who are they? That way, they're not just gamer tags on the screen. Although here in the virtual world, that's what we're also very used to knowing. Are the gamer tags, but it's always great to get a little extra out of the drivers as they compete here in the FM4 series. Again, reddit.com/r/FM4. That's the place you want to go for more information on how to take part in things here in the Forza Spec Racing series. You can still race in week number 2, and I believe it is a first come first to race basis as far as being a part of week to week action. So if you get yourself registered and you hop into the lobby for week number 2 and it fills up, then I think you're golden. You'll want to check with Slow Motion Fire on that. But really, the goal here is even well past 2 years of Forza Motorsport 7. That's how old this title is. It is amazing. It's thrilling to see the amount of competitors that show up here for an organized league like this. And of course, you don't have to look any further than the Torah Daytona 24-hour race that we had a couple of weeks ago, and the 300-plus drivers who participated in that. So the Forza community is alive and well. Obviously, I think everybody has the perspective that we would like to see things improve as they move forward, but no greater way to really make that call than to support this title and be a part of these community-run events, because then that gives the developers all the more reason to be at the top of their game, knowing that their fans are there to stand by their product and to make the most out of it, even through some deficiencies. So come out here and race with these guys and gals. Have yourself a great time. All they ask is that you race clean. That's the only prerequisite. You do that, and you can come back here week to week, race to race, and be a part of the fun. Here we are, 3 laps of qualifying out at the Dubai Mountain Circuit in reverse. And you'll notice here we go through the kind of the canyon section of the Dubai fictional track, and then we come through here, which I think is a casino. Actually, well, yeah, it's a hotel probably slash casino in the hilltop here. Well done by the Turn 10 Studios team. Put that bit of architecture here on the side of the track to gawk at, although for the racers, you're probably very focused on the apex there through the hairpin, past that section, and now here yet another hairpin area as you start to head downhill, and we're seeing Grimm bashing into the sidewall, the guardrails, if you will, the concrete barriers. You bash into one of those, you dirty your lap, and of course it'll take you off pace too, because there's the adhesion effect that you'll get when you tap into those that slows you down, just further adding insult to injury with a dirty lap, a slower time. AMS Udakan saying pole 2 races in a row. Let's see. Udakan's going to try to make it happen as they are now on, well, at least the first 8 cars out on the track are on their first flying lap. LMP Chicago currently has the quick time. We'll go ahead and pull the stats up for you there in the lower left-hand corner underneath the map. And now it's Corbin with a 146.7. Again, take it for what you will. Grain of salt. That's the standing lap. This is the flying lap. Chicago heading up the hill now. He's got Chaos Fox up ahead of him. All these cars out here qualifying at the same time. As you start to approach another vehicle, it'll ghost out. But as we heard from Chicago there, following qualifying in race number 1 at Raceway Laguna Seca, the ghosts, as transparent and opaque as they are, they still play tricks with your eyes, because you're looking for those visual cues to tell you when to turn into a turn, when to brake. And sometimes when you've got another vehicle, albeit ghosted, it can throw you off a little bit. And just a reminder for any of you that are tuning in a little bit late here, you can catch week number 1 action of the Forza Spec Racing Series in its entirety on demand here at twitch.tv/virtual autosports. Just go up to the video tab after the broadcast. So wait till after the broadcast. The video tab, click on that, then go to the past broadcast, and you can see this event again in its entirety. Something happened there on my OBS. I don't know what it was. Did anything happen on the broadcast? Did you guys see anything? I got a message. I don't know what it was. It disappeared quickly. But then we'll also run it back here. So immediately following this broadcast, we'll do the rerun of week number 1 here. That allows some of the drivers who obviously couldn't watch the broadcast but want to see how things were out on the track from our spectator view. You can join them. And again, that'll happen immediately following this broadcast. And there we go. It still looks buttery. Huh. And the message just came up again saying something about encoder overloaded, but I'm not seeing any problems with the broadcast. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Let me make a minor adjustment here. Fortunately, we haven't dropped any frames, so I think we got that much going for us. All 60 frames per second in 1080p. LMP Chicago currently with a 144.5 as they get ready to close up their final lap of qualifying here. Will anybody be able to best that time? Chicago trying to spoil Udakan's back-to-back pole position. He said he was going for back-to-back the first 2 races of season 32, and right now it looks like Chicago is indeed going to have that. Cratrim with the second best time, AMS Udakan with the third, so not even the first row for Udakan. He's going to find himself there on row number 2, sharing space with Corvid. Then it's AMS Storm, Mesosphere, Slipstream, Foontang, Yorkie Man, Slow Motion Fire. That'll be your top 10. At least right now, there could be a change here as we've got, looks like maybe 7 more cars coming across the line. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. I'm not sure what's going on. Although my CPU usage looks unusually high. Not sure why. What's going on there? Weird. Very weird. Well, as long as we're not dropping frames. All right, if there are a couple of drivers who would like to talk about their qualifying for race number 2, you know where to go. Queue for interview there on the FM4 Discord. We'll bring you in here and we'll make it quick. I know we're trying to get this race finished up here. We're a little bit over. Let's go ahead and bring in LMP Chicago, who's going to grab the pole spot. You ripped it out of AMS Udacon's hands, who was trying to go back-to-back there, Chicago. And his mic is muted, so we'll go ahead and let's bring in Fawn. Fawn, good chatting with you. How was your qualifying here for race number 2 at the Dubai Mountain Circuit Reverse?
Oh, absolutely scary. Not used to this course, obviously. Not a lot of people run it. I'm used to kind of just doing stuff in hoppers. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting being out here.
Is this your first go here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, or had you raced sometime in the past?
This is my first go at it.
Okay. And what encouraged you to participate? What was it that got you in here?
So, my buddy Chaos Fox is actually in this series. Saw him doing stuff in the, I almost said Senna's, the Sierras last season. And I was like, hey, that kind of looks fun. And, I hung around, was waiting for season 32. And I was like, wait a minute. Are they running R31s? I'm in.
Very cool. And last question for you here: a little bit of brotherly love and competition, if you will, between the two of you. Are you guys trying to see who's going to be the better of the two?
Well, he's got me beat by miles at this point.
Fair enough.
If that last race has anything to say about it. But yeah, no, that was hopefully, I can work on my skills, actually get to him and maybe be door-to-door with him later in the series.
Yeah. Well, Fawn, best of luck to you here in race number 2. Hang in there. I know it's a scary track. I'm not too fond of this one myself, but best of luck to you here in race number 2 of week 1.
Thank you.
All right, and let's see. Chicago, real quick, sir. You were able to grab that pole position. You made it happen here on the track that you picked. Any surprise to you? Guessing not. Oh, he jumped out. Let me try it again. LMP Chicago, you grabbed yourself the pole position, kind of what you were anticipating. This was the track that you picked. I'm guessing you're happy. Is that going to carry on into the race here?
I'll try to carry it on to the race, but it's an easy track to make mistakes at if you push it one bit too much.
One bit too much in terms of pushing it, and then what will lap traffic, how would that factor into this race as well?
If I do get a big enough gap from second, I'll probably be able to manage it. But because of last race and what I saw of the lap traffic, they were really kind about letting the faster guys through. So we'll just have to hope that carries over to this race.
All right. Well, we'll see if picking up the pole position will result in a victory here in race number 2 of season 32. Best of luck, Chicago.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. There's our drivers from the driver spotlight. They're getting things readied up, and yes, for our organizer, Slow Motion Fire, I appreciate you bearing with me there. We've had a lot of drivers who have been happy to have a word and are clearly not shy tonight. So we're running a little bit behind schedule, but perhaps we'll pick up the pace here in race number 2 of week number 1. It's going to be 17 laps around this Dubai Mountain Circuit in reverse. 17 laps, and it's a 2.57 mile track, hence the reason that we're a couple laps off of the Raceway Laguna Seca in terms of total laps, the Raceway Laguna Seca being 224 in mileage, so we'll do fewer laps here out of Dubai. But yeah, Chicago is going to grab the pole position. Opposite of him will be, I believe it's going to be Corvid with Cratrium, or excuse me, with not Cratrium, but Udakan and maybe Cratrium there in row number 2. I'm not going to jump into the previous race results here because I think we're going to get started pretty soon. Just waiting for Udakan to ready up. 23 drivers once again. A full lobby here tonight. It's Tuesday racing, and we have it coming to you the next 4 weeks after tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss it. This evening has been a great indication of what's to come. If you've got friends who enjoy virtual motorsports, if they like Forza Motorsport 7, they're big fans, or maybe they just all together, they just like watching esports competition, then tell them what we've got going on here on Tuesdays. We'd love to have you. And if you're watching maybe for the first time, or you've just been lurking throughout the broadcast, maybe drop a little hello there in the Twitch chat, or the pit lane as we call it. And that way I could throw a hello back at you. All right, here we go. It looks like Slow Motion Fire is getting things underway. The countdown has begun. And there's a look at the grid. LMP Chicago with AMS Udakan opposite of him. They're on row number 1. Corvid, Cratrium. AMS Storm is actually back there in P5 for the start. Opposite of him will be Mesosphere. Then it's Slipstream and Odd Drex in row number 4. Foontang and Yorkie Man. Weiss, Lancelot, and Slow Motion Fire. Fear the Fun. Born as Ghost. IPR Wolf, Presto is Besto, 15th and 16th. Then it's Chaos Fox, unfortunately not getting the best of qualifying times. He'll be with his buddy Fawn. Fawn telling us that Chaos Fox, the reason why he's in there. And actually, it looks like the organizer are going to go ahead and make a late adjustment. Actually, we lost a driver. And I think we're going to get the race underway unless they go ahead and back out. We'll see. Dino Dad Shadow in the house, by the way. I saw him in there earlier. Everybody giving Dino Dad Shadow the due love in the chat. Good to see you, Dino Dad Shadow. And again, if you guys aren't following him and Matt6661 here on Twitch, then go ahead and do that at some point, sooner rather than later. They're Touring Car Tuesdays, which obviously happened earlier today. A whole heck of a lot of fun. You could see the skill level that comes with those two drivers, and of course all the fun, humor, and shenanigans that they give you on Tuesdays, and then all throughout the rest of the week as well. It's not just the Tuesdays that they're broadcasting, unlike this channel. They're doing stuff all throughout the week, and not just racing stuff either. You can find all kinds of things. Although I know Dino Dad Shadow saying that he's back to fixated on Forza. All right, here we go. We're going to attempt number 2 because somebody did fall out during the load up of the last try, and there again is the grid with Grim pulling up the rear there in the caboose at number 23 spot. Wicked Sen with the follow. Thank you, sir or ma'am. Wicked Sen saying, let's go Grim. Grim's got the cheering section here tonight. I love it when we get a couple of folks saying, hey, this is who I'm here for. And it's nice to have that and see who everybody's rooting on. Let's go up to, well, this is good. This is as good a camera angle as we're going to get for the start of this race. Even though we have it focused on P2, it's looking from behind the entire pack. And here we go. LMP Chicago out in front. He's got Corbin, and there's Udakan making his way up as they go in through the sweeping left-hander, coming up to the tunnel here at the fictional Dubai Mountain Circuit Reverse. It's a tricky track. It gets quite claustrophobic as you head up through the mountain section. So whereas we've got 3-4 lanes of traffic here at this point, that'll be changing very, very soon as you see those concrete barriers. They're going to continue to constrict, bringing our drivers closer together. My bad. What a pro streamer, eh? All right, here we go. Now through the hairpin. It's actually more of like a horseshoe here near the hotel. We'll just call that corner hotel from this point forward. It's Chicago with the lead. AMS Udakan in second. Corbett in third. Cratrim in fourth. Let's go to AMS Storm in fifth position, and let's ride on board as they head down the hill. Then you can see how crazy things get here in the downhill slalom. Like if the Olympic slalom had a motorsport version and it was in a summer game versus a winter game, this is what it would look like. As they get down the hill and the brake lamps glowing as they prepare to hit the next section of S's here before they get up toward the start-finish line for the beginning of lap number 2. A little bit further back behind Storm, it's Audrex, Mesosphere, Slipstream, Funtang, Yorkie Man in 10th position, Fear the Fun 11th, Slow Motion Fire, Weiss Lancelot, Morna's Ghost, and Presto as Besto are 12th through 15th. Then it's Chaos Fox, DJ Hocus, Wolf, Viral Mist, Modern Weapon, Trigger Story, Fawn, Grim. 23 drivers still out there on the track. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that good stuff that we keep everybody out here for all 17 laps. LMP Chicago, Udakan now a couple of car lengths back. As we continue to watch Storm, he's tucked in between Cratrim, who's in fourth, and Corvid in third. Cryptic error. Yeah, well, there was nothing cryptic about my error with the schedule pulled up there halfway through for lap number 1, but Cryptic error, thank you for the follow. Great to have you here on a Tuesday. Or heck, maybe it's a early Wednesday morning for you, depending on where you're at. Here they come back down the hill. Storm in fourth, Creatrum in fifth. Meza back there in sixth, and I suspect we'll see Meza a little bit further back or further up as this race continues on. Let's give our folks toward the back of the pack this long snake of cars. Let's go to Modern Weapon in 18th position. We've got a few laps to pour through here in this final race of the evening. So let's give those folks who have joined in on the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing series, have painted up their cars with these beautiful liveries, and are giving it their all here with a full grid of cars. Give them a little bit of attention here as DJ Hocus out in front of Modern Weapon. He's got Chaos Fox, who's going to run wide there with Presto Esbesto up in the 15th position. Now Chaos Fox bringing it back toward the apex, blocking the door there for Modern Weapon. And we got a couple of two wide instances there. Presto Esbesto, Chaos Fox, DJ Hocus, and Modern Weapon. Wolf there back behind them. Wolf running in 19th, much better. Actually, no, Wolf, again, finishing 13th there in race number 1. So he's got a couple of positions to make up to do as good as he did there in the first race. Let's go up to 13th position. This is going to be actually 11th. That's going to be Slow Motion Fire. He's got in front of him in 10th position is Fear the Fawn, and in 12th behind him is Weiss Lancelot as they cut through the confetti. That confetti cannon will continue to go off as we get through the race, and Weiss Lancelot giving Slow Motion Fire a little bit of a love tap there, saying, "Hey, boss, I'm here." LMP Chicago still our race leader. AMS Udakan, DOR Corvette, AMS Storm. Let's go to Cratrim in 5th. Kicking back, watching my favorite boy fawning. There you go. Another for the cheering section, this time for Fawn. I love the confetti, says Dino Dad Shadow. I'd hate to clean up after the confetti cannons. Well, the beautiful thing, Matt, is as we know, it doesn't accumulate on the track. Although that would be a very interesting element to these races, as if the confetti, every time you went by, It just continues to pile up on the sides, so it's almost like those little rubber pellets that you get from the tires that build up as the race continues on. But in addition to that, you get the confetti that sticks around. Maybe Chris Asaki will tell us about how the confetti is a part of the dynamic racing surface in the next motorsport experience. I'm guessing not. Poof. There it goes. Poof. LMP Chicago, who's in the lead in this race currently, telling us that this was the track that he picked, and for that reason, doing quite well out there right now, and finds himself maybe a good 2 or 3 seconds out in front of Udakan for right now. It was Udakan who took the win there in race number 1 at Laguna Seca after LMP Chicago looked like he was in position to take it. Get some confetti on the tires, and there you go. Yeah, welcome to the skid pan. For sure. iRacing, I think, on Twitter today. It looks like EA with The Sims 4 has a racing expansion coming. If I interpreted the tweet correctly, and iRacing went ahead and retweeted saying, "Is this sim racing?" I can only imagine what iRacing would have to say if Forza Motorsport was had a confetti buildup on the racing surface. Is this sim racing? Here with Corvid in third, with Storm and Cratrium. Let's go to Cratrium. Matt saying, my only wish for the next installment is that the birds don't just phase through the car. Oh, so you want to have bird strikes. Gruesome. But I guess that much closer to realism, yeah? When was the last time there was a bird strike in racing? Does anybody know? When was the last time a poor, unfortunate flying soul came to a quick stop? Don't mean to take things to a dark corner of racing, but surely bird strikes are maybe more common than we think. Just not always captured on TV. And now Cratchum here starting to lose sight of Storm and Corvid. Mesosphere, as expected though, closing in. It won't be long here that Mesosphere is knocking at the door for Cratrium. Furiously types away on Google, so Cryptic Air is going to go ahead and give us that fact, that stat. Could you imagine yeah, I mean, ugh. So, in my years of being an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force, bird strikes were a thing, for sure. We had, I mean, in just the 6 years that I served, we had a couple of aircraft that had bird strikes. Through cowlings, that's never fun because they cut right through the panel and find themselves lodged somewhere within the aircraft, and then the ones through the engines are never fun because then it requires a nice, thorough inspection with a I almost said a microscope, but it's like a camera. You gotta put through the compressor blades, and usually it necessitates an engine change, and it's not pretty. Not pretty. LMP Chicago continues to be our race leader, not to take things on a huge tangent here. We'll reel it back in. Udakan in second position. Corvin in third. Crater in fourth. Mesosphere, as we see here, in fifth. looking to roll up into the maybe the top 3 finish if he can pull it off here. Audrex is in 6th. Slipstream, Yorkie Man, Fear the Fun, and Born as Ghost are 7th through 10th. Born as Ghost having a good run here at Dubai. Weiss, Lancelot, Foontang, Slow Motion Fire are 11th through 13th. Then Chaos Fox. Chaos Fox is just not having a great showing here in the first week of Season 32. Then a DJ Hocus, Wolf, Trigger Story, Modern Weapon, Fawn, Viral Mist, Presto's Besto, Grim, and oh no, we had a disconnect. We did lose somebody. Let's look a little bit further back in 11th position, Foontang. Foontang, the hard charger, if there ever was one here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, consistently finding himself qualifying either mid-pack or toward the back of the pack, and then I would say maybe on average about 5 or 6 position changes in the positive direction, not going backward, but moving forward. So you can always count on that Foontang gamer tag to move higher and higher up through the field as the race continues here on lap number 8 out at the Dubai Mountain Circuit. This is the reverse track, and it is a fictional track for anybody who's curious. Next up in week number 2, that'll be a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the Indianapolis Grand Prix Classic, 20 laps around that one, followed by the Lime Rock Full Alternate, 29 laps on that track. And for as long as we've been covering the Forza Spec Racing Series, I am quite sure we have not been out to Lime Rock, so that'll be a new one. Dino Dad Shadow cheering him on, saying, "Come on, Foon, get a top 10." Oh, it was AMS Storm. AMS Storm who gets the disconnect. Oh, no. AMS Storm, who finished 3rd overall in Season 31. That just means the next 4 weeks have got to be solid, and it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Not by a long shot. When you enter week number 2, any preconceived notions that you may have about how that season is going to finish, you could just chuck that right out the window. That leaderboard can change drastically from 1 to 2, and then it's not till week 3 and 4 that we really see the picture come together of who is going to be where heading into the finale, who's going to be vying for the championship. So I have no doubt, and I hope Storm is planning on it, that we'll see AMS Storm there toward the front of the pack here in the remaining 4 weeks. Dior, Corvid, and Cratrim here in 3rd and 4th, as Mesosphere has fallen back a little bit, it seems. Storm saying, "It means I can go to bed earlier. If I don't have to continue racing, I can go to bed earlier." And yeah, we are running a little bit behind schedule here. We had a lot of interviews. I'm sure I'll get my my hand smacked. Dustin, we're trying to get these races done at a reasonable hour. Just so many drivers wanting to chat. Let's go to Corvid once again and Cratrim. Audrex in 6th. Audrex having a great run. Audrex finished 6th out at Raceway Laguna Seca, so impressive Impressive run by Audrex here early on in season 32. Slipstream and Yorkie Man, who was outside of the top 10 in race number 1, currently running in 8th. Funtang in 9th, Fear the Fun in 10th. And so since this one has, at least they're spaced out a little bit here, let's go back to 11th position. Last time it was Funtang, this time it's Born as Ghost. Cryptic Error saying, man, I'm still at work. I'd love to go to bed earlier. Yeah, for you all working either the afternoon, evening shift or the graveyard shift, if you're watching us there from the workplace, thanks for tuning in, and hopefully maybe we're making the an hour or two fly by a little bit quicker for you. You can count on us here for the next 4 Tuesdays. And I am going to try to work out something during the off weeks, the intervals between seasons, and I know Soul Motion Fire put something together for the Forza Spec Racing Series for those guys to have a little bit of fun in between seasons, but I'm thinking about maybe doing something here unique to the broadcast, and that way we can have a little bit of fun. I know some of you have been around for as long as we've been doing casts here, to include the Shadow Edge Media days, and then the early days of Virtual Autosports, where we, in between the seasons of series that I put on, we would have what would be called derby events, where we would just head out to the figure eights circuit of the Top Gear test track. We'd turn off simulation damage, and we'd ask the racers to actually race, and to race with driver's etiquette all around the ribbon, except for at the intersection. The intersection was the only area where it was no holds barred, and it was always so much fun to watch. Perhaps if there's enough interest in that, we'll maybe do one of those during the off season here for the Forza Spec Racing Series. And who was that? That's going to be Yorkie Man, who's closing in on Udakan, who has fallen back significantly here to 7th position. What has happened? LMP Chicago has got an insurmountable lead here on lap number 11. Then it's Corvid in second with Kratrium, Mesosphere, Audrex, Slipstream, and Udakan in 7th now. And let's see if Udakan has any damage to that car, which may indicate what has gone wrong. Nothing that, well, a little bit of transmission damage, but, and you see it falls back to 0%. But, yeah. Wow. We'll maybe have to try to catch up with Udakan and find out what went wrong. But let's go back up to Kratrium, who is now in 3rd position with Corvid out in front of him in 2nd. And let me see, Mesosphere. Mesosphere still a ways back, but don't count him out. He's now in P4. Cryptic Error saying, yeah, the calls are slow today. I'm enjoying having something to help me have the time go by. Well, glad to hear it. Matt saying, that sounds amazing. They were always so much fun. We never got a full lobby, which would have just made it simply chaotic out there. But I think at most we had maybe 15 drivers out there for one of them. And we would allow everybody, well, actually, we didn't allow everybody. The champions of the series that I host would go into one vehicle division. Everybody else who wasn't a champion would go into another division. So it was kind of like a derby of champions, where the champions were trying to see who was the best of them, and then everybody else was trying to beat each other, and then also try to take the champions out at the intersection. It was a lot of strategy. It was just a lot of fun. And so if we get those going, I encourage anybody who's interested to participate. Again, keeping in mind that on the outside areas, the loops of that figure eight, it's clean racing. Keep your nose clean, be competitive, but at that intersection, you don't have to slow down for anybody. And man, we had some really, really fun collisions there. Again, just a great way to kind of celebrate the off season and not take things too seriously. Let's go back to Udakan there in 7th position. Let's see how far he's going to be able to make his way up through the field. He's got Slipstream currently out in front of him in 6th. Cryptic Air with the subscription. Twitch Prime at that. Thank you very much, Cryptic Air. that little bit extra. I hope you enjoy the simple emotes. They're nothing too crazy, but I hope you enjoy the emotes there and some ad-free viewing whenever we do run some ads. We haven't done so here this evening. I try to keep the ads out, but every once in a while I'll run them. That way any of our viewers who join mid-race can avoid those pre-rolls. That's how it works here on Twitch, is if the broadcaster runs the ad. Can you guys hear me? Did we lose connection again? Did that just happen? Wow. And just when I said I didn't want to jinx myself, I thought my ISP had it all sorted out. That happens. Wow. They ran a new cable for me and everything, so... Ugh. The woes continue. Well, welcome back, folks. Dustin Moore here. Live on Virtual Auto Sports for the opening week of Season 32 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Things were great out there at Raceway Laguna Seca for Race 1 with Udacan coming away with the win. Udacan now has fallen back to, well, 7th position, now up to 8th, gotten around Slipstream. So trying to claw his way back up through the field. We didn't see what happened at Udacan. We were watching a little bit closer competition further back in the pack. So maybe we'll see what happened during our post-race interviews. But things look like this. Chicago is just dominating out there right now. Corbin in second with Cratrim in third. Those two are very much neck and neck in this one with 5, well, make that 4.5 laps remaining. Cratrim, yes, they're in third. In fourth position, that's going to be Mesosphere, who continues to fall back from Cratrim and Corvid. Audrex in fifth, Udacan in sixth, and he is closing in. We see now on Audrex, so looking to move into the top 5. Seventh is Slipstream, Yorkie Man in eighth, Funtang and Born as Ghost. Then it's Fear the Fun, Slow Motion Fire, Weiss Lancelot, DJ Hocus, Chaos Fox, IPR Wolf, Trigger Story, Fawn, all the way up to 18th. Then it's Viral Mist, Modern Weapon, Presto's Besto, Grim, and unfortunately we lost AMS Storm earlier on in this race. Let's go back up to third with Cratrium. Yes, Udacan is most certainly on a mission. Definitely. Hashtag streamer life. It shouldn't be that way, though. I mean, like I said, I got my ISP out here to look at things. And while they gave me a new line, it appears that maybe that didn't solve the problem. Of course, it could have been a fluke. It could have been a fluke, but I would rather assume that there are no flukes and that they should have been able to diagnose it and fix it. Riding on board with Cratrim. He's got DOR Corbin or Crimson, as you may have known him. We most certainly know him as Crimson here in our Twitch chat. Doing a good job playing defense right now. Corvid finished in 5th there in race number 1. Cratrim in 7th. And here they come back up toward, well, past the start-finish line. Beginning of lap number 16. Mesosphere all by himself there in fourth. Audrex in fifth. Udakan. Let's go back to Udakan, who's trying to make that move here on Audrex. Here they come, where you've got, in this area, 4 or 5 lanes of tarmac. And here comes Udakan to the inside. Will he be able to secure it? It does indeed so. Goes ahead and closes the door, but there goes Audrex looking to the inside through that right-hand kink, and now up the hill through the mountain pass section. It looks like Udakan is okay. It looks like he's secured it. And a look at that maneuver there by Udakan on Audrex in our virtual Autosport rewind. Back to the live action. Lap number 17 has begun for our race leader, LMP Chicago. Unless there is some sort of catastrophic incident, going to take the win after finishing second in race number 1. What's going to happen here with P2 and 3? It's Cratrium in third, Corvid in second. We've got all kinds of battles. Mesosphere is really the only one riding solo at this point. Udakan still has Audrex hanging out with him. Slipstream in 7th, Yorkie Man in 8th, Funtang and Borna's Ghost are the top 10 right now. We'll look at the rest of the cars as they get ready to come across the line here on this 17th and final lap. That 18th lap will just be a cool down, so don't expect any racing back toward the in-game finish. And Cratrim about 2 car lengths back. Udakan's a beast, says Dino Dad Shadow. Yeah, he was able to get up to 5th. I think that is going to be as good as he can do in this race. And again, we'll have to, maybe we'll be able to catch up with him at the end to see what happened. We'll be asking any of our drivers who would like to chat in the driver's spotlight. They know where to go. That driver's interview queue. And here comes Corvid and Cratrium. Cratrium closing the gap through the downhill S's. Couple of hairpin turns here. Cratrium runs a little bit wide, and unfortunately he's just not going to be able to pull it off. It's Corvid and Cratrium 2 and 3 respectively. Then it's going to be Mesa, Udakan, Audrex, Yorkie Man in 8th. Let's go back to 11th position with Fear the Fun. He's back behind Borna's Ghost. Borna's Ghost looking to grab a top 10 finish. And again, pardon me as I'm writing furiously the finishing positions here. Fear the Fun, again, in 11th position. P12 goes to Weiss Lancelot. Then it'll be Slow Motion Fire and DJ Hocus. So DJ Hocus, fortunately able to keep his connection all throughout the race, finishing there in 14th position. Wolf in 15th. Then it's Chaos Fox and Trigger Story. Fawn and Viral Mist. Presto is Besto. Modern Weapon, Grim. And again, unfortunately, AMS Storm, the best that he can do in this one is get 3 points with that disconnect. Hopefully we'll see him return in week number 2. So there you go, folks. That's how it finishes. Again, LMP Chicago, Corvid, Cratrim, Mesa, Udakan with an incident that put him back in 5th position. Audrex, Slipstream, Yorkie, Foontang, Born as Ghost, Fear the Fun, Weiss, Slow Motion Fire, DJ Hocus, Wolf, Chaos Fox, Trigger, Fawn, Viral Mist, Presto, Modern, Grim, Storm. That's your 23 of 23 drivers. Yes, it was a full grid here tonight in week number 1 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. That's what we love to see, and hopefully we'll have that moving forward in the remaining 4 weeks of action. And yes, drivers, queue for interview if you'd like to chat. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping things up here pretty quickly. You see the schedule, or you saw the schedule. Again, we'll be heading out to Indianapolis Grand Prix, the Classic Circuit, 20 laps around that one. Then it's the Lime Rock Full alternate, 29 laps. So 2 real-world circuits in store on tap for week number 2. Matt saying, have an amazing night all. I got to head to bed. Yeah, get yourself some shut-eye there, Matt. And we hope to see you again soon. And again, folks, Matt6661 here on Twitch. Give the dude a follow. Give him a follow. Awesome job tonight, Mesa, says Matt. Yeah, Mesa's just, the dude's a beast. In the paint shop and on the track. Racing in somebody else's tune and still able to get some fantastic finishes. Man, it's so quiet. You guys, they were all very talkative early on, and now it's gone quiet. Dino Dad, I love the graphics for season 32 with the R31. Nice. Yeah, and I don't go as crazy. For those of you who have watched the broadcast in the past, I used to put a lot more into the graphics package, lower third during the broadcast and stuff. Really, the thing that I changed most, and the commitment to myself, was I was going to afford myself more time throughout the rest of the week to do all the other things that I have going on. And so to try to be as simplistic with the graphics package so I don't have to change a lot of things from race to race was the goal, and so it's helped out a great deal. All right, let's see. We've got folks jumping in here now. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pull in who finished in 4th position. Mesa, and able to climb up through the field. Unfortunately, something happening to Udakan, which moved you up by default to another spot. Never able to keep track or pace there with Kratrim and Kortvid, who together they kind of took off, but still P4, not bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy with my pace, considering, as I said in your chat, I'm not entirely sure I've actually raced that circuit before.
Oh, really?
I think I have the other way around.
Yeah.
But, yeah. If I have raced it, it must have been like in the really early days. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, this
where does this track go?
They got there's I don't know, close to 10 different versions of this track, if I'm not mistaken. I think there are quite an assortment to include the reversed version. So it wouldn't surprise me if you haven't either been here at all or just not in a long while. That being said, you did a heck of a job, and like you said, all things considered, not knowing the track, how did it do with the car? I know you said this isn't your tune, but did the car take to the track pretty nicely?
Car wasn't bad. A few mistakes were all entirely mine. I lucked a couple of positions because I know Storm had a DC in front of me, and then I believe Huracan had kind of a stutter, which meant he slammed into a wall. And he thus had to pit, so amazing job by him to get back for 5th. Yeah. So there's little me sat in 4th place going, I should have been 6th, but this is probably about my pace for the night, particularly as my hands now are absolutely crawling. Yeah. So, yeah, so quiet race, but I must admit, watching CT, Storm and Corvid in the early part of the race, and then when I could see them, Corvid and Kratrim, as they were battling for, I suppose it ended up being second and third. I was kind of there going, come on, CT, go for the dive. Go for it. Even if it messes up entirely, that'll slow you both down. But no, he's too much of a good driver for that sort of shenanigan. So unfortunately, they just kept their pace very consistent. And whilst I could hit it some laps, I just don't know the track well enough. And occasionally I would make errors and stuff and just bounce off a wall. But great opening race. I got to say the tune was better on that track. So maybe with the cooler conditions at Laguna Seca affecting the front end of the car. But the tune seemed to work very well here at Dubai.
Crimson in our pit lane saying that his hand is killing him. Is it the what is it? I mean, obviously on a controller, it's a different kind of feeling for anybody who's not used to racing on a controller with the analog joysticks and all that. Is it the downhill S's section that really pays a toll, or what is it about the tracks here that
it's basically anything where you're pushing the limit of the car.
Yeah.
For me, it's the vibrations from the pad, but I can't drive the game without it. For Crimson, an entirely different thing. His hand was savaged by Doug.
That's right. Yeah, we heard about those. So, I'm going to say heroics. I'm just going to assume that he was in the right in whatever it was that he was doing.
He was heroically breaking up a dogfight. Let's be honest, it's hard to be in the wrong for that one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whose dog started it. You can't be in the wrong when you're breaking up a dogfight. Yeah. In my case, it's just, unfortunately, side effects from medication. Basically, any wheel spin sends vibrations through your index finger on your right hand, because that's the one I use on the trigger. And again, any slight locking of the brakes, that sends vibrations through the left hand instead. And then, of course, when you're pushing the steering or going over bumps or riding curbs or what have you to try and find that extra few tenths, the whole pad's vibrating away, and it's just driving me crazy. Generally speaking, that's what's going on with that, because otherwise, I'm used to racing on a pad. I've done 8 hours straight on the Nordschleife with a pad. I can do a 20-minute race. It's just, like I say, it's just my nerves are playing up.
Yep. Mesa here in the driver's spotlight, week number 1 of season 32, 2 4th-place finishes in race 1 and 2. Mesa, we do hope to, I know you said it's kind of iffy. You'll see how things play out here between now and next week, but we do hope to see you on the track for week number 2.
Yep, I'll certainly be in chat even if I'm not actually racing. I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. All right, let's go ahead and bring in our winner there in race number 2. He told us he picked the track, the Dubai Mountain Circuit in reverse, and comes away with a victory uncontested there for the large part. Yes, a couple of racers fell out to include Udakan, but you had quite a pace going around that one. And like Meza was telling us, not familiar with the track. It doesn't come up much. So do you do that on purpose? Do you pick tracks like that because you're like, hey, I don't think anybody knows this one as good as I do?
Well, it's my first season picking a track, but from my experience, I find tracks like that kind of good with racing, and it also helps people get better at the game, because that track was a heavy momentum track.
Mm-hmm.
And if people do explore new tracks and all that, then they can actually get better as drivers themselves.
Yep, and I could hear the sticks slapping there in the background. So it looks like some of the drivers already getting ready for week number 2, doing a little practice out there at Indy. Is that what you do here between weeks, or do you kind of just step away and say, all right, I'm going to focus on something different now?
I do everything once race day comes up.
Nice,
pretty much.
Okay, all right. So with that being said, Indianapolis Grand Prix, the classic circuit for race number 3 of the season, and then follow that up with Lime Rock. What do you make of that combo in week 2?
It could be really close racing as well, because the Lime Rock we're doing alternative circuit with the chicanes.
Yep.
Which could kind of spice things up a bit. And with the Indy GP Classic circuit, I think I did this track in Torah for American Iron a few weeks ago. So I do have a bit of experience and knowledge.
Bit of experience and knowledge with the track. Yeah, I mean, Indianapolis Grand Prix, I think that's if it's not everybody's favorite, it definitely shows up quite a bit in league racing and then just generally in multiplayer racing. Again, talking with LMP Chicago, our winner there in race number 2 after finishing second out at Raceway Laguna Seca. And so should we take much stock in how things finished here in week number 1, or is just the level of competition meaning that any given week we could have different drivers at the top of the list here in season 2 or in week 2, week 3, so on?
I feel like the competition is still going to be there.
Yeah.
But with the AMS guys, it might have just been one of their bad weeks.
Yeah.
With Storm lagging out and Huracan not being up to pace in the second race, which means that they could come back next week with more practice and all that, with better tunes, and probably just run away with it.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. Like I said, when we were in the middle of that race, things can change dramatically after week number 2, and then, of course, heading into week 3, and then the picture starts to come together. LMP Chicago, great racing out there. It's like Chicago versus the AMS team at this point, but you're faring well.
Yeah.
We'll see you in week 2.
Yep.
All right, and let's see here. We've got a couple other drivers and all the new attendees here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. So let's go ahead and bring Wolf in here. And let me see. Let me run down through my list here. Wolf, I find you on the back half of the top 10. So in the at least in the top 15, maybe top 18. How are you feeling about race number 2?
Really felt like I could have gone better, but yeah, at least I survived the bits of lag that was experiencing throughout the race. Yeah. Could have been better.
Could have been better. Okay, so I'm way over time here. So just maybe what are your expectations for week number 2? What are your thoughts?
Get the car squared away so that it isn't pushing so much, and hopefully then I could make up some more ground, maybe a possession or 2. We'll have to see. Gotcha.
Well, Wolf, thank you so much for joining us here in the driver spotlight a couple times this evening. I do got to wrap things up. We're a little bit over time here with a couple of restarts. So Fawn and Graham, I see you guys in there. I appreciate the ambition, and we'll catch you maybe at the beginning of week number 2. We'll open up the interview section before the racing begins because everybody seems so ambitious to chat with us here during the broadcast. For everybody who is watching here live on Twitch TV, thank you very much for being here. Again, same bat time, same bat channel next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll catch you for week number 2. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be another good one just like we had here tonight. If you get any more Forza Racing action in through the rest of the week, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean. Y'all take care. Have a great rest of the week. Adios and goodbye.